Happy 2023 podcast listeners. Welcome to this month's Community Wise. I am Holly Long, your host. Hey guys. And this month, I have the pleasure of introducing one of my fellow coworkers who's been great here at LISC. Her name is Kelli Hearn. Kelly, welcome.
Hi.
Well, if you don't mind sharing with our listeners a little bit about what you do for LISC, and then we can kick the podcast off.
Sure. So I'm program officer at LISC Greater Kansas City. This is we're working on my fourth year here, which is great. But I am the program officer over our financial stability initiatives, which includes our FOC network that I think we'll talk a little bit more about later.
Yeah, yeah. So this month, of course, this is the beginning of the year, and we figured this year would be a great opportunity for us to kick off our financial stability series, which will happen from January all the way until April. We know that the first of the year you get hit with a lot of things, and actually starting at the end of the year,
Hmm.
and with the holiday season of 2022 behind us, most people are looking to create or regain some sort of financial stability from the year that of last year of buying gifts for everyone, splurging on holiday meals, holiday decor, holiday entertainment, and then of course your property taxes and the end of the year. So this month we are going to talk to Kelly about financial stability and our LISC program regarding financial stability, and particularly our FOC network, and any kind of steps that Kelly can offer us on how to regain our financial freedom. So, Kelly,
Hmm.
what is your definition of financial stability?
It's basically a family or an individual being comfortable with their finances. So their income is not less than, their expenses, and an emergency coming up, like, oh, I have to get a new car, or,
Mhm,
you know, my kid broke their arm or something like that is not going to
mhm.
set them back. So just being comfortable with your finances.
Gotcha, gotcha. And we had the pleasure of interviewing you for our blog post that you can find on our website, and we'll probably link it to this podcast. But you said that there is no magic formula for financial stability. Do you mind explaining that to us?
Sure. So in my previous work at Texas A&M and at LISC, I have this philosophy that everything is connected. So though, individuals can do things to, restore their financial stability or gain financial stability, there's not one single thing that someone can do to make more money and be more stable. Usually, it's like you have to make more money, you have to get another job. You have to make sure that there is, if you have children, that there's stable childcare, that there's transportation that is reliable. There are so many things that go into financial stability and can affect a family or individual's finances, that there isn't just one thing that someone
Mhm.
can do.
Okay.
Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It's like a combination of things, right?
Yes.
And
Hmm.
so, um, like we said, kind of leading into this intro with the holiday season behind us, do you have any tips, small tips for regaining that? I know that it's a combination of things, but
Hmm.
like, okay, say it's the beginning of the year and I want to change the trajectory of my finances. Now, I have a good job. Um, Perhaps I can work on my spending. Perhaps I can figure out some other things. In our blog post, you had spoke about a little bit of some small things that people can do that will add to the greater good. You
Hmm.
mind explaining a little bit?
Sure. So I am
Hmm.
that person who
Yep.
is like, okay, the holidays have passed, we're in a new year, and yeah, there are definitely some things that small changes I can make to help
Hmm.
my own financial standing.
Mhm.
So the first thing I did was take a deep breath, um,
Yes, like Kathleen
because
told us.
yes, um, because talking about money, dealing with money can be stressful, especially if you are stretching a dollar.
Yeah.
And holidays can be stressful. So just
Mhm.
taking a deep breath, making sure that, like, you're kind of getting through, meditating through how the holidays went, good or bad.
Mhm.
And then the practical step would just to be reviewing your finances, looking at your budget, looking at the money you have coming in and the money you have going out. And I think that's a good first step is to just see where you're standing, see where you need help. And then
Mhm.
after that, like you can take those steps like going to an FOC.
That's a great plug into our FOC network. Do you mind explaining to our listeners what is an FOC network and what do we do? How do we do it? All
Sure.
that. Mhm.
Yeah, so we're part of a national organization. So we have several markets. I think almost every market has an FOC network, so Financial Opportunity Center. So these sites are organizations that are already pillars within their community. So it could be a church, it could be just like a social service type of organization, it could be a college. It just depends on the needs of the community that it's in. But these organizations provide financial coaching, workforce coaching, or employment coaching, and income supports. And the idea is that you are bundling these three things together. So a person walks in and is saying, hey, I would really like some help with my finances. So they'll actually sit down with a coach who is walking through this journey with you. They're not dictating what you should and shouldn't do, but they are providing resources and perspective on what you can do to help your financial situation. So if that's, doing resume reviews or mock interviews so that you can get a higher paying job, or maybe you need some income supports, like you are eligible for childcare assistance or SNAP or something like that. These coaches will help you through that. And then they'll also just like be there to celebrate your wins and
Mhm.
help you with any, opportunities that come up to, that aren't the greatest.
Right.
They'll work through that with you. And it's a non-judgmental situation. All of the coaches are really there to help you. They are working with you toward your own goals that you're setting. So
Mhm.
whether that's just, hey, I just need to put food on my table and make my rent, cool. Or if it's, hey, I want to save for a home, these are all things that they can help with. And it's supposed to be a long-term relationship. So, it's not transactional, although some people can do that. They're not going to turn you away.
Right, right.
But the pull and the greatness about the FOC model is that they are working with you and they are invested in your success and your goals just as much as you are.
Wow. So, how many FOC network sites do we have in general?
In Kansas City, we have
Mhm.
five. In
Mhm.
general, oh man, I do not know the number for that, but
Oh
I
wow,
can
I didn't
provide
even. I was
that.
just thinking about Kansas City, but
Okay,
okay.
good.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but
yeah.
yeah, so in Kansas City, we have five. They're all long-term sites, which is great. So most of them, actually all of them are on the Missouri side right now, and then eventually we'll be working toward getting more representation on the Kansas side.
Awesome, awesome. And so, um, how would one go about signing up for FOC services? Like, could anybody go? Can I go? Does it, you know, what are there any stipulations or parameters?
Yeah, so the model itself and our sites are really geared toward helping those who make like a low to moderate income.
Okay.
That's really our focus because that's where we're seeing where access to
For
resources
sure.
and assistance is really needed. But anybody can come in and go to any of the five organizations, and usually the organization will host like an um, informational, what do you call it?
Like
Session,
an
I
in
guess.
yeah, an intake or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they'll just give you a rundown of what it's like, what the process is
Hmm.
like, the kind of
Hmm.
information that they're going to be
Hmm.
looking for. And if that is something that the community member wants to do, cool, they'll make an appointment. And when they go in, what they can expect is really to delve into their finances. So you're going to look at your budget, you're going to make a budget. There'll be a credit pull, so you'll go through all of that. And this probably won't take, like, it will probably take more than one session, but the point is just to get kind of a baseline of where you are and where you want to be. And then from there, the community member and the coach will work on those goals that they may have set.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, okay, we have CSL, Community Service League, in
hmm
Independence,
hmm
but they serve Independence and Kansas City or just Independence?
So they're based in Independence, but
Right.
it's basically anybody within the KC Metro. So that includes two or three, I think it's two counties on the Kansas side,
Oh,
and then I think
wow.
like five on the Missouri side.
Wow. So we
hmm
have CSL, we have Metro Lutheran Ministries.
hmm We
Um,
have Guadalupe Centers,
yes,
Prosperity Center, which is part of Rockhurst,
right,
and Women's Employment Network.
right. And so last year, I think it was last year, we talked to Tanika
hmm
from Prosperity Center, and she came on and told us about financial stability and things of that nature, um, and kind of what they're doing and how they can help our community and other members of the community. So, with that being said, with this launching of the, or with us launching our financial stability series, where do you see this going? Where do you essentially want? And I'm getting at a specific phrase you always say, because I think it should be said out loud. What is the ultimate goal other than financial freedom, and stability of like a service like this?
hmm
Um, what would that?
I mean, I always say just give people money.
That's it. I was getting at that. Yay!
So I am a huge proponent of like universal basic income,
Mhm, mhm,
a steady cash-based system given directly to people, um, because it really narrows that kind of wage gap that we see, and it has like a steady flow of cash into households, which we have seen. Like, we don't need any more studies. Like, we have seen that it works. So,
right.
I would love to see some sort of UBI system in Kansas City. I think our communities need it and would definitely benefit from it. So that would, I think, be the first thing.
Mhm,
Um, Second, I would love to see systems change. I
mhm,
think there's only so much the individual can do and like individual families can do. But when you are up against unreliable transportation or sky high childcare costs, or inaccessible healthcare, like these are all things that go into financial stability and the things that affect a family's ability to maintain stability and grow wealth.
mhm,
So, until there is systems change, like things like UBI and that kind of thing will be great in the short term, but, long term, that's definitely something we need. Um, but yeah, I think those are probably the two biggest things
okay,
for me.
cool. Yeah. Well, I have a question. This is an unscripted question, okay?
Okay.
Um, what led you to do this work?
Oh, that's a good
Anything?
question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say I have my degrees in people. So I have a bachelor's in psychology, but my master's is in family and human development. So
Mm,
this idea that everything is connected definitely comes from my educational background.
mhm,
Um, but my previous position was part of a program called the Community Partner Program,
mhm,
and it was really like our team would go out and help organizations who are providing the service that like helps people sign up for and manage their state benefits. So this was in the state of
mm,
Texas. So I
mm,
could see, even though I wasn't directly involved in the service part of it, I could see the effect that just access to resources
mhm.
was a life changer, especially in the times of like Hurricane
Yeah,
Harvey.
Hurricane Harvey, yeah.
So knowing that all these things are connected, and I knew I wanted to stay in nonprofit. So, Kansas City was next on my list because that was in Texas. So I moved back here, and I am more passionate, I think, about the people side of it. I'm
Yeah,
actually not much of like an economist or a math person.
for sure.
Um, but I think it's important that we keep the humanity of money and the humanity of community development at the
Mhm.
forefront. So as a people person, that's definitely, I feel like my pull to this work and why I stay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know, we love economists because they can kind of forecast how and what the trajectory of the world will look like. But I
Hmm.
also think there's a whole, it's, you can't describe and you can't put a number on the fact that people know people and
Right.
people love people. And because of that, you want to see them grow and you want to see them. Do we have a guest who wants to come show herself?
We do. She is rowdy today.
It's all good. But all that to say, we need to see the humanistic side of
Mhm.
finances because we don't know, especially working in community development. As you say, everything is connected, and we don't know. Um, but for the work that we do, if we didn't do this work, where would community be? Where would
Right.
society be? And so people like you are so integral in the development of our society and the development of our families and our communities. We thank you for your work. We thank you for being a people person versus, we don't need, it doesn't take a rocket science to figure out money, right? But
Right.
if you don't have money, you can't make no money.
Right.
It's
Right.
just kind of that colloquialism that we kind of grew up knowing. So, um, and it teaches us how to better utilize the money that we do have.
Absolutely.
And so we thank you for your service. We thank you for putting people first, and we thank you for your vision of our FLC network and where it's going to go. And so that's all we have for this episode, unless you have anything else you want to say.
I think this was in the blog post, like the interview, but I
Mm,
just want to reiterate that like there shouldn't be shame
mm,
around any financial difficulties a person is has. Like I said, there's a systemic element to it too. So I
mhm.
would hope, especially in Kansas City, that people would not feel ashamed to ask for help or assistance or for more information, because that's why we're here. We're a community. So please don't feel ashamed to ask for help.
Awesome. Great parting words. Thank you guys for joining us for this month's Community Wise podcast. We'll see you next month. Thanks.